What's going on, friends? How we doing? Craig, how we doing, brother?
Oh, I muted my microphone. That's gonna be helpful if I turn that on.
I think I unmuted you and you muted yourself back.
No,
that's what
I'm
happened.
good, brother. Look, nice to be live in the top of the ninth for a change. It's been a while since I've gone live in the top of the ninth. I know you and Trace have had a chance to, but my last few times on the show haven't been live in the top. So nice welcome change and a nice day for the Reds.
Yeah, good day for the Reds so far. See if they can finish them off as there's the first out of the inning. Yeah. Shout out to everyone joining us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram today. We're not always on Instagram and Twitter, but we are always on YouTube in the ninth inning, every single game, all 162. So be sure to check us out. Chatterbox Reds, also available everywhere you get podcasts. Getaway day, baby. When a team's down 8-1, isn't it a beautiful thing? That swing by Doyle. Just get me out of here. Get me out of Cincinnati.
He's ready for the All-Star break, even though he's got 3 games left.
Yeah. We got our win. We didn't get swept.
Hey. Oh, that's true. The Rockies got through. I thought you were saying we got our win, and then I realized what you were saying. Yeah.
I put on my Rockies cap, which is a dangerous cap to wear. All right. I do need to enter in some box scores here.
Lot of options there for the box score today, Nick.
Yeah, I have. Well, I put the names in, and then I wait till the ninth to actually, enter them. And now I got like 7 names to fill out here.
I know.
I only got 5. I limited it to people with 2 hits today.
That's still what, 5 guys?
Yeah. That was the threshold. The other day we had a threshold of if you got a walk, you made it. So
a lot different game.
This is a nice improvement.
Yeah, let's see. India, Steer, Candy on base twice.
Stevenson 5 RBIs. Sheesh. Well, Marlins next, Craig. So Marlins haven't announced their starting pitchers because they suck. Absolute garbage to be 24 hours away from playing a game and not even announce your Friday starter yet. I mean, that's how much they care about this season.
That's how well things are going for them. Got it. Good to know. I'm sure we'll find a way to make that an interesting series nonetheless.
Nope. Oh. Jacob ain't running.
No.
Well, let's do a show, folks. How about that? All right, we'll see you in 3 minutes and 54 seconds.
And a bench to bench. Change in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. And the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild hit. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Perkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk.
De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Win. Line into right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to a career of Jay Bruce.
Well, hey, what's going on? Welcome into Chatterbox Reds. Nick Kirby, Craig Sandlin, Cincinnati Reds. What a big win today, Craig.
Man, wasn't that nice? It's nice to have a low pressure, high scoring outcome. It's been a while for me, I'm going to be honest with you, to be on this show with a game like that. So it feels good. Glad to be back with a wrench and on the admin side of the show. So it's a good Thursday, everybody. It's a good Thursday.
And Mark said it best. Greene gets run support. That is certainly a welcome sign. Appreciate you, Mark. Yeah, certainly a welcome sign for Hunter Greene and the Reds. All right, well, I got to be out of here at 4:45 because I do have T-ball today. So let's jump right into it. Craig, are you ready with the box score recap, my friend?
I'm always ready, baby. It's a long one, everybody. It's a high-scoring game, so be ready for it. Here we go. The Reds and Rockies back at it Thursday afternoon in the final game of their 4-game series. All-star Hunter Greene on the mound for the Reds, facing off with the Rockies lefty Austin Gomber. The Reds get their first 2 runners aboard as Jonathan India walks and Spencer Steer singles to right field, but with runners on second and third after Steer steals second with nobody out, the Reds can't get any runs on the board after Candelario grounds out and Stevenson and Marte strike out. After striking out his first 6 batters of the game, Hunter Greene walks Nolan Jones to start the third, but he'd face the minimum as Austin wins Guns Jones down attempting to steal second and adding his 7th strikeout on the day. India singles to lead off the bottom half of the inning for the Reds, advancing to second on an error by left fielder Sam Hilliard. Spencer Steer then doubles off the glove of shortstop Ezekiel Tovar before Tyler Stevenson drives the first pitch fastball the opposite way for a 3-run big fly. It was the 3rd straight game with a home run for Ty Steve and his 9th of the season. Hunter Greene would give up his first hit of the game, a leadoff single to Ezekiel Tovar, but leave 2 stranded in the 4th. The Reds would add a fourth run in the bottom of the frame on a Santiago Espinal solo home run deep to left field, 420 feet away. Michael Tolia tags Hunter Greene for the Rockies' first run of the game with a fifth inning leadoff home run to right field, making the score 4-1. Hunter Greene would then retire 6 straight Rockies to wrap up his day. Final line for the All-Star: 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and a season-high 10 strikeouts on 97 pitches. Sam Moll and Fernando Cruz combined for a scoreless 7th, and the Reds put this one out of reach in the bottom of the frame. After singles from India and Steer, Jamer Candelario doubles down the right field line, scoring both runners. And then Tyler Stevenson adds his second home run of the day, his 10th of the season, extending the Reds' lead to 8-1. Justin Wilson works a perfect 8th. Lucas Sims faces the minimum in the 9th, and the Reds pick up the win and take the series by a final score of 8-1. Rhys Hines adds 2 hits on the day to extend his hitting streak to 4 games to start his career. He was one of 6 Reds to reach base multiple times on the day. In total, the Reds tallied 14 hits on the game. Austin Slater, a victim of bad luck. He has 3 hard hit balls on the day, but goes 0-4. Noelvi Marte, 0-4 on the day after his 3-hit showing on Wednesday. The Reds are back in action on Friday as they start their final series before the All-Star break, welcoming the Marlins to Great American Ballpark for a 7:10 p.m. first pitch Friday night.
Beautiful, my friend Craig. And we did have a deep drive of the day. We had several deep drives of the day, but the deepest of all the deep drives, Santiago Espinal, baby. Santiago Espinal, home run number 5 for Santiago Espinal, 420 feet. Exit velocity of 103.8. And our deep drive of the day, sponsored as always by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production. They specialize in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. Couple more super chats. Appreciate you. Bryce Sizemore, can we please put Hines ahead of Marte in the lineup? Side note, I think JR made a good decision not sending India. Yes, I would agree with that, Bryce. What I'll say about Hines, same thing I said about Benson last year. Let's let these guys get comfortable. Let's not try to put them in roles that are too aggressive too early. I think that happened with Benson. Maybe a little bit this year. Probably more so putting him starting against left-handed pitching than moving him up in the lineup. But I wouldn't be in a rush to move Hines up in the lineup. I don't think it matters all that much. I get the sentiment, but I would just let him be comfortable. It's not push him too far. What he's doing was completely unexpected. Let's not push. You have any thoughts on that, Craig?
Both of his hits came after Santiago Espinal hit his home run earlier in the game. So the Rockies were scared to face Espinal, had to throw pitches to Hines. He was able to capitalize. No, look, I agree with you. I think ultimately, we're 4 games into his career, so no real rush here. I think we saw earlier in the year that there are certain guys that like it just comfortable for them hitting in certain roles. And right now, I wouldn't mess with anything that's clearly working. I mean, he's on base twice again today. What is it now? 6 extra base hits in his first 4 games. Maybe even more than that. Maybe 7. But nonetheless, I let's just let the kid get used to major league pitching. And again, he's going to start seeing a lot more breaking balls. And so there's bound to be some regression. Let's just get him comfortable and see if we can't keep him up here for the rest of the year.
How about this super chat from Scott? Pinky liquor proving Trace wrong. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, Trace, Trace, I don't know. I don't remember what he says. Something sort of disparaging. It wasn't that crazy on Tyler Stevenson. I kind of pushed back. I was like, Tyler Stevenson's been fine. And well, Tyler Stevenson hits 4 home runs in 3 days after that comment. So I don't know. Keep the smack talk up, Trace. It seems to be working. Every time he seems to go after someone, well, he goes on a run. So I don't know. Maybe we just turn it into a bit and we ride this all the way to the World Series. I don't know. All right. Let's get into the show here today. Reds overall, how about this? 25-19 since May 24th. I know it's been up and down, but that's 6 games above 500 since they fell 10 games below 500. So really, I mean, that's about what, 6-7 weeks. They're playing pretty good baseball. You're going to have an opportunity this weekend against a Marlins team that's not very good. Right now, the Reds are 3 games out of a playoff spot. The Padres and Cardinals both off today, so Reds will pick up a half game. Obviously, I think you get to the All-Star break. If you could pick up a game this weekend, that'd be great. I mean, you get to the All-Star break 2 games out of a playoff spot with the turbulent season so far that we've had for the Reds. That'd be great. Honestly, even if you just don't lose a game this weekend, you get to the All-Star break 3 games back. I still think overall you have to be feeling pretty good about where you're at.
Yeah, look, I think Reds fans came into this last homestand here, myself included, looking to really dominate the last 10 games to get to a better position in the standings. You know, obviously disappointed to come away with without a win against the Tigers, but the Tigers are a much different team than the Rockies and the Marlins. So, you know, the Rockies and the Marlins have the 2 worst records in the National League. Certainly an opportunity here that you could potentially go 6-1 or 5-2 at worst against those 2 teams and go into the break in a much better position. So, yeah, I look at whatever the record was you said since May, 3-1 since July 7th, Nick. 3-1 since July 7th. So we can cherry pick some records and find some things that work for us in pretty much any scenario, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, I think, again, this 4 games against the Rockies, the 3 games coming up against the Marlins, we've talked at length about how this stretch and the beginning of the second half of the season are really going to dictate what the Reds do at the deadline. And so you could see a potential here that if the Reds can pick up 2 or 3 against the Marlins, then maybe it puts them in a much more comfortable position to really be buyers at that deadline.
All right, there's a lot of different things we could talk about on the offense, certainly worthwhile, but I think we have to start with Hunter Greene. Just felt like he set the tone for this whole game, struck out the first 5 batters that he faced. You could just tell that there was a really good Hunter Greene today right from the jump, and you know how much that carries over to the offense or those kind of things. I don't really know, but it was clear that he set the tone for this game and said, I'm putting this team on my back, fellas. Let's jump on. Hunter Greene, 1.05 ERA over his last 3 starts. That's pretty good. But maybe more impressive than anything with Greene this year is just how consistent he's been. So Greene's made 19 starts now. 13 of his 19 starts, he's allowed 2 earned runs or less. 9 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run or less. And 4 starts, 0 earned runs. He's had a couple clunkers here and there that have maybe even ballooned his ERA a little bit more than it maybe even is. It's 3.34, which is still very good for where he came in throughout his career at this point. Was not projected to put up anywhere close to this kind of ERA. But really, Greene's consistency to me is something that I didn't see coming into this year. I thought Greene would take a pretty good leap, but I didn't see it being this consistent.
Yeah, Hunter's been a great addition to this starting rotation. Obviously, the fact that he's stayed healthy and pitched consistently has really, put him in a position where he is to be a National League All-Star. And, you look at coming into today, he had an ERA of 1.76 in day games. He obviously held up to that standard today. The Rockies came into today with the fourth lowest OPS in the majors against pitches that were 95 and above. And you really felt that Hunter Greene was super confident in that throughout the game today. Of his 97 pitches, he only threw 3 of his secondary pitches, the curveball and splitter. Everything else was a fastball or slider. You've really seen him kind of lean onto those primary pitches over the last couple outings. He only threw 6 of his secondary pitches in the last outing against the Tigers. And so you just feel like Hunter Greene, while obviously there's a desire to continue to work on those secondary pitches, that he's super confident right now in his ability in those top 2 pitches to get guys out. And it's something that I've pushed for even on social media over the last couple outings or in general. But Hunter Greene has stuff to get guys out. There's no reason to dance around guys, to work outside the zone. He just needs to attack guys. You saw it today, 7 strikeouts in the first 3. He struck out the first 6 batters he faced. It just from the get-go today, just felt like he was going to be attacking guys and really was in the zone.
Just feels like Hunter Greene, as you mentioned, is his day stats, but it feels like he's an extra level of nightmare to face when you're a team on a getaway day. It feels like, I can't tell you how many of these games have been like a midweek game where he's just absolutely dominated. You think about the Twins last year, that 14 strikeout game. I'm pretty sure that was on a getaway day. I know we had another starter earlier this year where you're just completely dominant on a getaway day. And it feels like Greene can just absolutely capitalize it. It feels like right now, Greene has these other pitches, but it feels like he's going to use those other pitches when his other stuff isn't as good. When his bread and butter, when his fastball and slider are good, he's just going to challenge these guys with it, and he doesn't really need to go anywhere else. Now, he may have to adjust that formula because batters are certainly going to adjust as well. But right now, it feels like Hunter Greene has a really good game plan and even maybe a backup game plan for when plan A doesn't work right now, and his ability to attack hitters. And been a joy to watch. It's going to be awesome for him now. What an awesome way to end your first half. Get to go to the All-Star game after that start, after the last couple starts. Hunter Greene, I'm so glad he got this All-Star nod. I kind of hope he doesn't pitch in the game as much as it'd be fun to see, because I kind of want him to be available right out of the gate because every game is really important for the Reds. But I'm really happy that he did get that honor.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, look, at the very minimum, it's a great experience, right? He's going to be around a lot of really good pitchers, be able to talk baseball with all of them, get an opportunity to be on the biggest stage and be recognized for what really has been a superb start to the season for him. And so I'm with you. It would be great if he didn't throw. David Bell being on the staff, maybe he wants to get him in front of the crowd to be able to showcase what he's been able to do. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it'll be a great experience for him, and that's really what it comes down to. The Reds, after the break, go to Washington and then go to Atlanta. So if he does happen to throw in the game, it may be better for him to throw against Atlanta rather than at Washington. So that may work in his favor to get an opportunity to throw in the All-Star game, or maybe they can work it where he pitches against Atlanta rather than pitching in Washington. So I'm not exactly sure what the rotation will shape up to be after the break. Obviously, the fact that the break really gives the Reds 4 days off, because they have the Thursday after the break off as well before starting a weekend series with the National, that they really can kind of figure out what they want their rotation to be for the second half and set that up in their benefit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see guys like Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo be lined up to face Atlanta rather than going against Washington. But it would also be really good to get 2 out of 3 against Washington to start that second half on a high note too.
Yeah, that's a good point on who the Reds face in the second half. So yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately it doesn't matter. Nonetheless, really excited. And Greene only allowed 3 hard hit balls today. I mean, just an absolutely dominant performance from Hunter Greene. Man, what a way to end your first half. The offensive side. So the Reds, they give Elly De La Cruz a day off. Some people were a little bit concerned about that. I mean, I think it absolutely made sense to give Elly the day off. You're facing a left-handed pitcher. He's obviously not as good of a hitter against left-handed pitching. The thing I think that a lot of people miss on Elly De La Cruz is, well, he's only going to the All-Star game. He's only going to play a couple innings. Elly is going to be so swamped that entire time that he's in Texas. He's going to be outside of Shohei Ohtani because of his international coverage. Everyone's going to want to talk to Elly De La Cruz. I mean, you saw when he goes to New York City, he has to go to the MLB studios and film promos. Like, everyone is going to want a piece of Elly De La Cruz. It is going to be an exhausting week for him. It's going to be an exciting week for him, but it's going to be an exhausting week. So, look, you have to give this guy days off. The Reds are absolutely screwed beyond belief if anything happens to Elly De La Cruz. We all know it. We don't need to dance around it. So you got to protect him. It made sense to give him an off day, against the lefty. Now I assume he'll play all 3 games this weekend. If anything, I think the Reds have not given Elly De La Cruz enough off days versus giving him an off day today being an issue. Any thoughts on Elly getting a day off before we talk about all the guys that picked up Elly, and I guess even David Bell.
Well, look, here's what I'll say, and I'm not a reporter by any means. I have no information, obviously. Last night, Elly, to me at least, seemed to tweak his knee or something when he was sliding into second base late in the game. Now, Charlie Goldsmith, before the game, reported that this wasn't related to an injury. Charlie specifically mentioned a hand injury, which I don't remember as report around a hand injury for Elly, so I'm not 100% sure. But long story short, David Bell says this is a pre-scheduled day off for him. You know, a day game after a night game, an opportunity for him to get a little bit of a rest going into, as you mentioned, not only a big series against the Marlins, but also a big week for him as he ascends Texas for the All-Star game. So no real issues. Obviously, the fact that the offense picked him up was a benefit there and kind of made it a even bigger non-story than maybe it would have been if the offense had struggled. But no, the biggest question mark for me is just, is there an injury somewhere? And if so, what is it? And is there anything to be concerned there? As of today, it sounds like no, but just, you know, from what I saw, it looked like he might have tweaked that knee. So we'll have to monitor that and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything injury related. I think it was I think it was just a day off. I don't think anything more than that. All right, Tyler Stevenson. How about this? 4 home runs in 3 games. Stevenson's OPS jumped from 689 to 770 over 3 days. That's how wild a season could flip on a player. You know, I had said on Monday we had some conversation about Stevenson, and I had said, look, this guy's a human. He was going through his first, him and his wife, their first child being born. I'm sure that was a very stressful time. Not just obviously we had to fly across the country to meet his wife, but really the weeks leading up to it, not knowing when he's going to get the call that he has to jump on a flight and get there. Will he be there on time for the birth of his first child? So I think he was dealing with a lot. And it's really good to see that, he had obviously a big week because this is a big player for the Reds. But, I mean, right now, 770 OPS for a catcher that I think is playing at least adequate defense. You could maybe even make the case that he's playing above average. I don't remember the last time I watched a game and I meant, Tyler Stephenson's been alive. But I know he was DHing today. But he's playing solid defense as a catcher. He's now clearly an above average hitter, at least at this point. I think it's been a really awesome season from Tyler Stevenson, and I'll be interested to see him in the second half because, catchers do sometimes wear down in the second half. That's normal. That's natural. How can he finish this year? Because he had a really good first half.
Yeah, he had a really good first half, and he at this point is on a 5-game hitting streak during that time period. He's got 9 hits, including if I remember correctly and can do some math, 8 extra base hits during that time period. So, he's on a bit of a roll right now and certainly looking good. That first home run of the day, I love to talk about Oppo Ty Steve. So the fact that his first home run of the day was to right field, it just feels like he's seeing the ball again, like he was during that kind of hot streak earlier in the year when he was, hitting the ball well to all sides of the field. I talked about it at length. This is the second longest hit streak of the season for him. When he compiled an 8-game hit streak at the end of May into early June. So we'll see if he can continue it on through the end of this first half, maybe get this hitting streak up to 8 games as well to match that. But seeing Ty Steve not only hit the ball to all fields, but more importantly, hit it with power, feels really good. And just in general, this Reds team hitting with power over the last week or two, also a welcome change because they were certainly struggling for the first 2.5 months of the season.
Yeah, and I saw a comment in our chat, not try to single out the comment because I think it's a fair comment about Tyler Stevenson's framing. And again, I always try to have caution with small samples with defensive metrics. So take this with the caution that it deserves. But last year, Tyler Stevenson was in the 5th percentile in catcher framing. this season right now, he's in the 75th percentile. So he's completely flipped that. Now, is that a small sample that will correct itself? I don't really know the answer to that. I don't watch every pitch with the purpose of understanding if it's catch framing or not. The Rockies catcher Jacob Stallings made a phenomenal frame in the first inning. I think it was Candelario at the bat. I can't remember. It was an incredible frame job that I did notice that today. But there's some metrics that say that Stevenson has made some significant improvement, especially with his blocking behind the plate. Now he's still not very good with his pop time and throwing out runners. Those metrics still look bad. But right now, at least if you look at just his StatCast numbers over a small sample, which it is, he's at least been average. And you combine that with a OPS of almost 800. That's a really good catcher. That kind of catcher on the free agent market is a $20-25 million player. I don't think people realize that. I mean, I'm not being facetious. You try to go out. I mean, look how much Yasmani Grandal cost the White Sox, for example. Any other thoughts on Ty Steve?
No, I mean, we talked about it in the offseason that just an average defensive Tyler Stevenson combined with his offensive ability makes him extremely attractive. And there was conversations and concerns about whether or not he could offensively get back to the levels that he had previously shown from an ability standpoint. And I feel like he's done that so far this year. It's been a little streaky at times, but certainly has shown the ability to hit the ball and hit the ball with power to all sides of the fields. And again, like you mentioned, the framing rate above average and the blocks above average also in the 66th percentile. And so, I think he's done everything that you would have realistically hoped to see out of Tyler Stevenson for this year. There's certainly room for improvement in his game, but the fact that we've seen so much improvement year over year after we saw the work that he put in this offseason gives me a lot of faith moving forward that not only for this year, but in years to come, that with that effort and that level of work that he puts in, that he can continue to be an above average catcher for this Reds team.
Trying to buy some time here. Trying to buy just a second. Oh, come on. Finish processing, baby. Come on, let's go. I got a little video here. I haven't watched it yet. I have no idea what it is. It was sent to me. I'm trying to play it. It was like loading. It was all the way. You know how you have something go. Oh, I'm hitting buttons now. You know how you have something go all the way through 100%, and you think it's done, and then it goes processing. That's what we did. But here we go. We got a little video. Let's see what we got here.
All right, so I was summoned like an hour ago to send a video. It's bright outside. I have to go back over here. I was summoned. It took me every bit of like 40 extra minutes to get home because of traffic. Shout out construction workers. But this video is about Tyler Stevenson. I want to take this time to apologize to absolutely nobody. Nobody, okay? It was the Rockies. I give all the credit in the world. Stevenson will bounce back action. Yeah, we pad some stats against the lowly Rockies. Worst pitching staff in the history of Major League Baseball. Don't know if that's factually accurate or not, but they got to be close if they're not. So I want to see it against some competent teams before I do a true apology. But congratulations to Tyler Stevenson for getting having a good week against basically what is the Chattanooga Lookouts.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just disgusting. That's disgusting. I mean, I don't know. Everyone else in the NL Central's played the Rockies already. Unbelievable. Well, you have to come to expect it at this point.
I think the chat should boo Trace like they booed JR House at the game today.
All right. Santiago Espinal. How about that? Fifth home run of the year. Had Espinal hit 5 home runs in his entire big league career coming into this year? I'm not really joking. He hit 2 last year in 93 games. This was only his 68th game, and he has 5. So I think Santiago's enjoying playing at Great America Ballpark.
He had 7 in his All-Star year. Nick, give him some credit.
Okay, but last year he had 2. Last year he had 2.
Last year he had 2. Good point. Good point. He only played 93 games last year though. So in fact, he's already at he's already played 68 games for the Reds this year. How about that? when we traded for Santiago Espinal, I realized some of those are pinch hitting opportunities. Do you expect him to play in 68 games in the first half of the season?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be the Reds' everyday second baseman when they acquired him. I thought they were gonna. I didn't think they were going to move India. I thought they wouldn't cave to moving India to second base. I thought the Reds were going to be more of this whole, well, we moved you. We're trading for Santiago Espinal so we don't have to put India at second base. And the Reds decided, what the hell, we're going to do it. And honestly, to this point, the Reds proved me wrong on that one because I was not in favor of putting India at second base. And I think that was clearly the correct decision. I mean, there's really no debate at this point. But this is a Santiago Espinal show today. Let's be clear. Give this man his flowers. He almost hit another home run. Also had a double today. Just a really good day for Santiago Espinal. It's been a disappointing season for him offensively to this point. I think he can be closer to a league average player, and I hope that maybe we'll see that in the second half. Obviously, he's been incredible defensively. He made another good play today. Certainly a more than capable backup shortstop. I think with Noelvi Marte struggles at third base. I think you want Santiago Espinal backing up Elly if when he needs a day off and not Marte at this point.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think defensively he provides you something that I don't know that anybody else on your infield other than Elly can provide. The range that he's shown, the ability to read balls off the bat is certainly top-notch, especially amongst this defense. I think he had a really nice play last night or the night before when he was at second base as well, if I'm remembering correctly. So it seems like time after time he's come up with some really nice plays in the field. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like his numbers are down from a batting average and a slugging percentage standpoint. Home runs are up. He's not really connecting on a whole lot of extra base hits as much as he has in previous years, but I think realistically having a guy like Santiago Espinal, at least as a defensive backup and ability to give guys a day off, at least gives you some confidence that he's going to put the ball in play. It's not always going to find grass, but he's going to give you quality at bats. And even today, he did that again. The double, you saw 10 pitches in that at bat, or 9 pitches in that at bat. The home run, obviously, and then in his last at bat, he saw 7 pitches as well. So he gives you quality at bats towards the bottom of the lineup, makes the pitchers work, and again, a good defensive player as well.
Yeah, really for Santiago Espinal in the second half, we just need him to be a quality backup. And then when Noelvi Marte helps carry the Reds in the playoffs, Santiago, we just need you to get hot. We need you to get hot for like 10 games in the playoffs and have this incredible run that will be a trivia question for years and years to come. Who was the Reds NLCS MVP in 2024? Oh, yeah, it was Santiago Espinal because Noelvi Marte was suspended. So there we go. Throwing it out there. All right.
Espinal, 99th percentile in whiff rate and 97th in K rate. So at very minimum, he gives you good at bats, and he's not striking out a lot, which had definitely been a bug that's bitten this team. So
yeah, he balances his lineup out a little bit for sure, and not a whole lot of guys that have that type of game in their arsenal on this Reds roster. So that's good to see. All right, just so many other guys you can talk about. Spencer Steer maybe kind of gets overlooked because he 3 for 5 today. Jonathan India just stays completely hot, 3 for 4. Reese Hines 2 for 4 with a double. Just good days from all 3 of those guys. Anything else stand out to you on the offense, Craig?
I mean, everything stands out on the offense on days like today. I mean, that's the difficult part, right? We don't have enough time to talk about every single guy in the lineup. Not to like pander here or anything, but guys like Austin Slater going 0 for 4 on a day like this where he hits 3 hard hit balls. And then the softest hit ball that he has of the day should have been a base hit that the right fielder slid and made a nice diving catch on. Feel bad for a guy like that who's coming onto a new team, gives them 4 really good swings and just doesn't find the grass. But I think top to bottom, really good day from the Reds. You only had 2 guys that didn't get a hit. That was Slater and then Marte. Everybody else finds a way to get on base or get a hit. It just, top to bottom, Jeimer Candelario has been on base every game this month now, which, him coming back from the injury and certainly not to the level of play that he had expected. You saw him hit a really nice line drive down the right field line there in the 7th as part of the Reds rally. So him getting a little bit of power back, coming back from that injury is going to be key. He gets on base twice again today. And then as you mentioned, I don't want to skip over him. Spencer Steer's a guy who in the past I've kind of overlooked a little bit because it just, I've called for the Reds to get a guy who just is consistent, but like Spencer Steer has been that guy. Spencer Steer in big moments has come up for you. Spencer Steer on a day-to-day basis has given you good opportunities and good at-bats. It's nice to have that at the top of the lineup for sure.
Spencer Steer's a really good guy for the Cincinnati Reds organization. I was obviously got the privilege of getting to cover some Dayton Dragons games this weekend. I was talking to Ethan O'Donnell, who's one of the Reds' top 30 prospects. And he said that Spencer Steer texts him and checks up on him all the time to see how he's doing. Like, what a great organizational guy to have someone that does something like that. Yeah, Steer, great day for him. He seems like he's coming around. The power's really been there for Steer of late. Jonathan India, you just can't say enough good things about the incredible turnaround this season for him. And this was a guy that I think he had like a 79 WRC plus, and he's like up over 120 now. Like, that's just an insane turnaround in such a short amount of time. But Rhys Hines, what just an impressive series for him. I did not see this coming at all. Rhys had subpar numbers at AAA. You hope that you just got this jolt of getting to the big leagues, able to carry this. I think the reality will set in at some point. Now, what the question is how drastic is the reality? Is it where he just completely falls off and is striking out 3 times a night? Or is it where, he's maybe able to just provide the Reds some pop, that he can hit a home run a couple times a week and play some decent defense. And that kind of player could be very valuable to the Reds, especially since the Reds have, limited options from the right-handed, side, at least power-wise. So I don't know. I mean, I probably wasn't fair enough to Rhys, to be completely honest, that I didn't mention the fact that last year he started off the season so poorly as well down at AA, and then he absolutely got on fire in the second half. Had an incredible run in the second half. So maybe I wasn't fair enough to Rhys when he did get called up. But we'll have to see kind of how it plays out. But just to him personally, awesome series, incredible job, from him, and provided a massive spark this team desperately needed when they just had yet another, brutal injury in Stuart Fairchild. Just another gut punch of an injury for the Reds, one of their best hitters against left-handed pitching this year.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expects Rhys Hines to hit 500 for the rest of the year, or even 300 if we're being honest. I mean, I think if you can get him to hit consistently 250, somewhere in that range with the power that he's shown, I think that's a really big win for this team. And, I don't know what Stuart Fairchild's timeline is going to look like. But the fact that, you lose probably your best right-handed bat against left-handed pitching, and you're able to replace him with a guy like Rhys Hines, who's come up and given this team really a little bit of a spark by being able to hit extra base hits and hit for power, has been really nice. And so, he's 4 games into this now. He's got a hit in all 4 games, multiple hits in 3 of them. I wasn't necessarily expecting this. I can certainly own up to that. I texted you earlier this week that it's probably a good thing we didn't do a Chatterbox reacts to the Rhys Hines call up, because I, for one, would have looked like an idiot, especially here after 4 games. But no, it's been a great story. It's been great to see his family at all the games, supporting him. We've talked in the past how it's really nice for Bally Sports to show the families and the impact that this has on them as a whole. And so, no, it's been really good. And for a guy who admittedly was very emotional when he was coming up and making the drive up from Louisville. It's nice to see him kind of take a step back and not let the moment be too big.
Absolutely. All right, let's real quick, let's talk about the Game Time app, because the Reds, hey, look, they're still in town this weekend, 3 games against the Marlins. These are big games. I would really love to personally to see a big crowd at Great American Ballpark this weekend. This team is 3 games out of a playoff spot, 3 games. I think they deserve some support. And if you want to head down to the ballpark, be sure to use the Game Time app, because the Game Time app is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. That makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. They've got killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and the lowest price guaranteed. And Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference with their lowest price guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use the code CINCY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CINCY, C-I-N-C-Y, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We also want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime at all, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health. Whether in an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between, it's a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. And before we get into a little bit more of the conversation, before we wrap this show up today, I would like to encourage you, please like the stream if you're watching. That kind of stuff really does help us. We do this every single day. We try to provide some fun content for you, recapping each and every game. The likes really do help us, fight the algorithm lords of YouTube. So if you hit that like button, it would mean the world to me and Craig. All right. I don't know, Craig, do you have anything else about this game that stuck out to you? Anything else that you want to talk about? Obviously, the bullpen, did a nice job. What was that, 3 shutout innings? I mean, obviously they had a big lead, but, nice win. You don't have to use another guy. No one had that outing to where, all right, well, we have to get someone else up and warming. That kind of stuff matters. You're going to have a big series here against the Marlins. You have a, relatively fresh bullpen. Anything else stand out to you, Craig?
I think the bullpen is obviously a plus. It feels like, situations like this, they've been pretty good. Obviously, Mole, Cruz, Wilson, and Sims go 3 scoreless. That's really nice. And look, again, a lot stood out today. It's really hard to kind of narrow that down to a 45-minute show. Real quick before we get into Reds MILB and some other things, the Pirates did just defeat the Brewers 1-0. Paul Skeens gets pulled after 7 hitless innings. So 7 no-hit innings out of Paul Skeens in his last start before the All-Star break. The Reds now, if assuming this is updated, 9.5 back of first place in the Central, 8.5 back in the Central. Not updated yet.
9. Reds are updated. Brewers are not, because it says the Brewers have won 1 in a row. So I'm assuming that one's not updated. Good call.
So 9 games back of the Brewers. The Pirates keep track with the Reds. They're now 45 and 48, a half game ahead technically in the standings. So
I would say for the most part, Craig, I don't think there's really any chance of catching the Brewers. If the Reds were to catch the Brewers, it would be more about the Brewers collapsing in the second half, which is possible. I mean, I think that team has overperformed. I'm scared to say that because, every time we've doubted the Milwaukee Brewers, they just spit right in our face. I don't know what they're doing there. I did a preview show about every NL Central team with someone from the team. And I got to be honest, I talked to Jeff Levering, the Brewers play-by-play announcer, and I felt like he was maybe the guy that was maybe the most down on his team out of everyone that I talked to. And, sure enough, man, he wasn't, super down on him by any means, but he wasn't, going overboard. The Brewers, man, this is a juggernaut this year. They've been incredible. But, look, it's possible. It's possible that the Brewers just have a bad second half and the Reds can get into that race. I think for the most part, we need to be keeping track of the wild card. And if the Central happens to fall in the Reds' lap, great, wonderful, we'll take that. But, getting into the playoffs, any way you could do it is really all that matters for the most part, at least this year. So we'll have to see on that.
Yep. And the Reds technically 3 games out right now in the wild card. They are half game behind the Pirates now with their win, obviously, for that last spot. So certainly within striking distance here. The Arizona Diamondbacks only 1.5 game ahead right now. And then obviously the Padres on their 4-game losing streak are 3 games ahead.
Well, did you say that the Padres are tied with the Mets now? So the Reds are technically at this point chasing the Mets and the Padres.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, I know that everyone talks, well, there's still so many teams in that race. Well, yes, but there's also 2 spots. The Reds are only 4 games behind the Cardinals. So you have 2 teams that you're fighting with. So, you keep winning games, you get to that 83, 84, 85 wins, which I don't think that's crazy when you look at what the Reds' schedule is in the second half. I think that this team, with their pitching, that's the most important thing. We talk about the offense all the time, and the offense has played pretty well, at least the last 4 games. And outside of the Tigers here, I think the offense has played pretty well, maybe for the last, month since the beginning of June or so. I have to check the numbers, but I would imagine the Reds have been an above-average offense for the last 6 weeks or so. And they're doing it without a lot of key players, and without Noelvi Marte really contributing much yet to this point. But you get to that 80, 84, 85 win, you're going to be right in there. You're going to have a chance. And I think that's really just, kind of all we hope can happen here in the second half.
I mean, that's been kind of the target since the beginning of the season, right? I mean, nothing's changed from the Reds' perspective in terms of how you go about getting into that wild card race. I mean, that 83 to 85 win spot seems to be a number that'll get you in right now in that NL race. Obviously, anything can happen, but the most important thing for the Reds is just control what they can control, and right now that means winning games, and whatever happens with the rest of the teams happen. But nobody right now in the NL thinks that the wild card is going to be a foregone conclusion. I think it'll come down till pretty late in the season based on how everything's going.
Yeah. And according to Fangraphs right now, Reds projected to win 78 games. Reds coming in this season were projected to win 79 games. So really it hasn't gone down all that much. The Reds still, pretty much in the same spot. Obviously, they didn't have a really good second half, but this is a team that I think is capable of doing it. All right, Reds MILB. Got about 5 minutes before I got to get out of here. There's only one game that's finished today. DSL Rojas defeated the DSL Padres in the Dominican Summer League 5-2. None of the top players were in the lineup today, though. So that was it. Tonight, as you see on your screen, Louisville taking on St. Paul at 6:35. Justice Sheffield looking to bounce back from a really tough outing. Interesting guy the Reds picked up as a starting pitching depth. I'll be fascinated to see what he does tonight. Chattanooga taking on Biloxi at 7:15. Dayton, they're red hot against South Bend at 7:05. And Daytona, they're also playing well. Fort Myers at 7:05. Also, the ACL Reds and Cheyenne Lynn will be in action at 9 p.m. Of course, I'll recap all of that as I do every single day on the Chatterbox Reds podcast. And if you're someone who watches the show, especially on a day like today where I don't get to go through all the Reds minor league and you actually really want the Reds minor league, one thing I have started doing of late is I put timestamps into the podcast. So just scroll right down. You can see at the 45-minute mark, I run through the Reds MILB. So if you want to check that out, I try to make that as easy as I can for you. All right, next up for the Reds is going to be the Marlins. Now, the Marlins are a team that started the year historically bad. They started 0-9. In fact, they were 10-31 on May 11th. They've been a little bit more competitive since. They've been about 9 games under 500 or so since then. They play tonight actually at like 8 o'clock. So hopefully they use every single pitcher on their entire roster tonight. The Marlins suck. They've not announced their starters, so this is the Fangraphs projected. Chirios is having a pretty good year for them if he's the guy they go with on Friday. Cabrera and Rogers are two talented pitchers that have struggled this year. But for the Reds, I mean, look, you have to like your chances. I think Carson Spires, the Marlins are the kind of team that I think he could have some success against. Be interested to see how he bounces back from his worst start of the season. Or really just the home run ball did him in against the Tigers. And then Andrew Abbott and Nick Lodolo. Obviously, I don't need to tell you about what those guys have done. They've been incredible. The Marlins have several lefties, have a couple guys they platoon. Their cleanup hitter, Jesus Sanchez, is a lefty, having a really good year for them. So that's a guy that you can he's not having a great year, but he has 10 home runs. He's a guy that maybe you can at least neutralize a little bit. Craig, any final thoughts here on this series against the Marlins? Any expectations for you this weekend?
I think I am beyond giving expectations at this point. I've embarrassed myself enough with giving Reds expectations, so we'll avoid that. I think a couple interesting things. Carson Spires pitching on a little bit of extended rest. It's been a week since he last started. He gave the Reds 4 2/3 innings against the Tigers on the 5th. Did give up 4 runs in that game, so looking for a little bit of a bounce back from that perspective. But he's been a guy who's given the Reds consistency, I guess, for the most part. Not always going to go out there and shut the opposing team down necessarily, but he's also, hopefully, knock on wood, not going to be a guy that goes out and gives up a blow up day. So if the Reds offense can stay hot, should be a good game tomorrow night. And again, this Marlins ball club with 30 wins in the first half of the season so far, probably looking forward to this All-Star break. They're having to face it on the road. So let's hope if we can catch them sleeping a little bit before the break.
Yeah, absolutely. Marlins are in Houston right now, so they got to fly across the country after an 8-10 game. And the Astros really did not do them any favors. Isn't that really kind of messed up? 8-10 game, and then you got to fly from Houston to Cincinnati. That's tough, but we'll take it. We'll take it.
I just kind of assumed that it was like MLB either written or unwritten rule that on getaway days when you have a game the next day you should be playing day games.
I think it's unwritten. I think the teams have the discretion, but I think most teams do it. Maybe because the Astros are in the American League and they're like, yeah, this isn't like a team, like we can say screw you, but it is kind of disrespectful. I'd be pretty upset if I was the Marlins about that, to be honest.
I assume this is probably a silly question. That's not like a nationally televised game or anything, right?
Nope, just says Bally Sports Florida. And Houston has a TBD starter, so hopefully they're doing a bullpen game maybe tonight. Maybe we can get just to drag on and on and on. And yeah, they'll get here in Cincinnati on 3 hours of sleep and then win 5 tomorrow. That's how it always works when something like that happens. Perfect. All right. Well, I got to run. Appreciate everyone tuning in today. Thank you, Craig, as always, for helping us here on Chatterbox Reds. Like the stream. Please like the stream on your way out. Really would appreciate that. Check out Chatterbox Reds everywhere you get podcasts. If you've not left us a 5-star review on your podcast feed, please do that. That kind of stuff really helps. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. Let me do one more double check. Make sure we didn't have any other super chats. Looks like we're good. Got everyone. But yeah, have a great day. Beat the hell out of the Miami Marlins. Am I right, Craig?
Beat the hell out of them.